I'm fairly certain that no one says they want to be a mailman when they grow up. It's just kind of something you fall into when you major in film at Temple University. I became a mailman in July of 2002. I was living with my brother at the time, who was a postmaster for the United States Postal Service, and he had grown tired of my drunken antics and hearing me puke all the time from my period of fun employment after I lost my prestigious job of running a family restaurant straight into the ground. So one morning I awoke and it was my brother. He was getting ready for work and his tie, he hit me in the face with his tie. And he's like, "This is bullshit, I'm getting you a fucking job." And he's like, "When's the last time you showered?" So, it's true. So I started with the United States Postal Service July 2002, and let me tell you something. I learned a lot during my tenure as a mailman. When you become a mailman, you become a part of the fabric of a neighborhood. You become friends with the customers, and they tell you gossip, which I love. So I knew who was cheating on who, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I also knew when you were late with your bills. It was kind of like being Santa Claus. It's like, I know that you're late with your mortgage payment, and I know you're late for your car payment. Also, you're all perverts, as evidenced by the adult magazines you would receive in the mail and the adult DVD mailings that would be sent. But nothing tops the one time I was walking down the street, and I reached into my bag, and I felt a plastic penis, veins and all, in a very thin Tyvek bag. What was even worse was the customer came to the door as I did. So it was a very weird, like, baton handoff. But all kidding aside, it was a great job, but it was also had a little bit of an element of danger, aside from dogs. So my first time, I remember, it was my first summer, and it was July of 2002. It was my first East Coast summer as a mailman. And I got to wear the shorts, and I got nice legs, so I looked sexy as fuck. So I was delivering to this very, very well-to-do suburb that also had a pocket of, like a working class pocket. So I was walking down the street, and I was delivering to a group of row homes, and each more dilapidated than the other. And I stepped upon a porch, and there was a man. It was a very cluttered porch. It had a bunch of stuff, like trash bags and like a dresser and a couch. And this guy's sitting in the corner, and he's got his hat pulled down, and he's drinking a beer, and he goes, "Don't come on my porch." And I was like, "Dude, it's my job. Like, I don't know what you want me to do here." And he's like, "If you don't get off my porch, I'm gonna kick your ass." Now here's the thing, people. I grew up in a blue-collar neighborhood, working class neighborhood. I fought every weekend. I like to fight, all right? But I was like, "Nah, I'm not fighting over the mail." So he goes, "You got 2 seconds to get off my porch." I was like, "Dude, I'm going." So just as I turned to walk down the steps, I hear a whoosh, and he takes a swing at me. And somehow I dodged that shit like Neo dodged bullets in the Matrix. I was like... So he falls off the steps and onto the ground. So I just take my mace out. I'm like... like I was spray painting. So it becomes a whole thing. Like, his family comes, someone calls the cops. The cops come up to me and they're like, "Do you want to press charges?" I was like, "No, I want a fucking fair one. Let's do this." And the cops are like, "No, we're not doing that." So, and then again, they asked me, "Do you want to press charges?" I said, "No." And they go, and I look at the family. I'm like, I ain't a snitch. That's how I roll. And so I go back to the office. I tell my coworkers what happened. They're like, "That dude's insane. Like, that guy is known to have problems." So I was like, okay, nothing's ever going to happen again. I'm out. 2 weeks later, I'm delivering mail again, same town, on this long street with no trees. And it's like mid-July, and the sun's beating down, and they just blacktopped it. So, like, you can see the steam shimmering off the top. And this man that assaulted me comes walking down. And I was on break, and I was smoking a cigarette, and I walked around the back of my truck, threw my bag down, and I was like, "Round two, motherfucker, let's do this." So he's getting closer, and it's starting to feel like a Wild West standoff. And I'm standing there, and I'm like puffing my chest up and cracking my knuckles. Now look, people, I'm 5'5". I get it. I'm Scooby-Doo, or Scrappy-Doo. So he's coming up to me. He walks up, and he's getting closer, and he comes up to me, so I start puffing my chest, you know? And he's like, and he's got a 40 in a brown paper bag. I'm like, I don't want to fight this guy. I want to party with him. And he looks at me and goes, yo, man, can I get a smoke? I was like, shit, man, yeah, here's half the pack. Like, as a peace offering, you know? We had issues, and I felt good about myself. He took the cigarettes, and he left. And he kept walking. I drove back to the office. I felt good. I was like, conflict resolution, I am on it. I go in, and I'm like, yo, the guy that assaulted me came up to me the other day, or came up to me today and asked me for a cigarette. And that's when I found out it was not the guy that assaulted me. It was his twin brother, and he had been incarcerated like 3 days before for another assault on someone else. And I was like, shit, I wasted a half a pack of cigarettes. That's all, thank you very much.